Hello. Whoa, and there are four listeners already. Welcome, guys,
Hello, everyone.
to the UBports Q&A, and it's number 146. And I remember the first one actually. Maybe not. Maybe the second or third one. I think I was not on the first one.
The reminiscent of
So,
huh?
hmm?
Reminiscent of the old days.
Yes.
Yes.
So, this is a summer edition of the UBports Q&A, the show for all the users and nerds that use UBport Ubuntu Touch on their devices and want to know about the development, want to ask questions, want to see what we are up to. So today there is Alfred
Hello.
and me, Florian. So I guess you don't know me anymore because I was not so many Q&As in the
Don't
last 2 years.
forget quickly, my friend. We don't forget.
Thank you. I wanted to hear that. So yeah, hoping you all have a great time, have a great summer so far. Yeah, we have a very hot summer here in middle of Europe, in Austria and Vienna. Both of us are sweating around
Yes.
27 degrees or so for the last few weeks already. Yeah, I wanted to go to some cooler place sometimes.
Finland.
Yeah, for example. So yeah, let's see what we are up to today.
One thing that I want to mention before we head over to the news.
Sure.
There is one thing in particular that is very interesting for those at COS Cup 2024, and that is Ratchanan is going to be there and hold a presentation about Ubuntu Touch, freedom of choice in the mobile OS space. And it will happen tomorrow, actually. He will have his talk tomorrow in the National Taiwan University of Science and Technology in Taipei. And if you're at Cost Cup, just you know, get over there and maybe have little interesting talks with Rajanan. Pretty sure he's going to enjoy it, and let us know how you liked it when it's done. So things are happening, and we invite you to be there as well.
I hope we have really people that could potentially go to Taipei because this is kind of a moonshot from here. So, yeah, if you not have anything in your mind for tomorrow, Sunday, you could go to Taipei quickly. It's just a
Like
11
a
hours
taxi ride.
flight.
Yes.
But yes, Ubuntu Touch guys in Asia, you might have a shorter arrival. But it's great that we are on a conference once more. And we have some opportunity to speak about our ideas, our projects for mobile alternatives, especially Ubuntu Touch, of course.
Yeah. Right.
And thanks, Rajaman, for going there because it's also for you from Thailand, not just around the corner. But yeah, I wish you a pleasant conference. Good.
So
So wonderful. There are some merch news. I can see a GitLab link in my.
yes, click it.
Okay,
You're gonna enjoy it. Oh, you muted yourself.
it's loading. Yes, I want to have muted mouse clicks.
It's loading.
Yeah, here we have it.
Those are actually
So,
cool changes around the camera. I see there have been a few changes around the Lumiri camera app, and one of those, or a bunch of them, like collected together. One of them is making sure that the barcode reader library is found by a package config. The next one is vectorize barcode scanner icons so that they look probably a little better than just the PNGs that we used before. Translation changes in the camera app, some CMake changes, basically making sure that the thing actually compiles and gets.
wow, so this is all from Cosima. He's working here
Yeah,
like a lion. There are a lot of camera pull requests, and there is also a clock app.
yeah,
Thanks so much for those many PRs. I can see at least 10 or 12 from one contributor in this case.
mm,
Very delighted.
Yeah, we also have some weather app changes from Daniel, like drop in app changelog to reduce translation work, drop digits for humidity and pressure, fix version number in about page. Some
Update rain view URL. That's very important because I love to have some graphical display of the clouds hitting my area.
Mhm.
So if that would break, no way. Very cool. So camera app, clock, weather app have improvements upcoming. But as you know, we just released OTF 5. So
Mhm.
those things will only be available. Will available.
Nah.
Those things will only be available if you are on a developer image and basically switching channel to Devil.
Mm.
And yeah, but of course, this is possible because our Devils are normally very stable.
Yes.
Sometimes they are not, but yeah, we don't talk about this so much. Um, so what else do we have? So OTF 5, it was basically started to release 1 week ago, or actually this Monday, I guess.
Mm.
I didn't start it myself this time, but I think it was started on that day. So by this Saturday today, everybody should already have received an update. And if you did not, you can go to system settings, check for updates manually. Sometimes the automatic notification doesn't work so well. And you should be able to install the stable OTF5 on your 2004 focal devices.
Yes.
And that's really great. And yeah, what else? I personally did not have any feedback for OTF5, so I hope everybody likes it.
They have it.
Alfred?
I have one thing to mention
Mhm.
specifically here, and that is one of the more notable changes of this focal OTA was the implementation of some reparity changes, which basically cause the power hell on the howling side to, whenever you touch the screen, whenever you scroll around, that it would ramp up the CPU frequency over the power hell for 3 seconds. And after letting go of the touch screen, 3 seconds is the maximum timeout. It will go back to a more sustained profile, a longevity profile, so to say. So it basically ramps up the CPU and GPU performance while scrolling through things, while interacting with the device, and afterwards it will go back down.
That sounds like a trick that also is used by Google and Apple
It is.
because this is how they make their devices so fluent. You think,
Yeah.
oh, this is scrolling fast, yeah, but only because it utilizes spikes all the hardware resources. So if you keep scrolling like crazy, your battery will go empty very fast, and then you stop, you read something, and the whole thing goes to sleep.
Yeah.
If you master those techniques, then of course battery life is very good. And
Mhm.
of course, snappiness, responsiveness, everything. But they had to learn this over the years, I guess. So when we're implementing those things, and probably that was on user feedback or on one of your experiments, because I remember you already had this app booster thingy in the works some
Boosting.
time ago.
This is just
And
another step in towards that direction.
yeah,
The initial booster thing was basically Android 7, nothing particularly interesting there. But with Android 9 and up, there are power health services which basically take the rest of oh, something is interacting right now. You might want to ramp up and do so over an extended period of time. After 3 seconds, we just say, oh, no, that was enough.
and now your microphone is a bit wonky. I think it also needs a power up.
Help!
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay.
So let us know if you have good or bad experience with OTF5. You can use our forum at forums.ureports.com, of course, either in the device-specific subforums or
Mm.
on the general place, because we rely on your feedback also to further improve that thing. Yeah, but I'm very happy that we are delivering OTS now again on a quite frequent base or a
Yeah.
regular frequency, let's say.
Mm.
Okay. What is ongoing with experiments? Oh,
Not,
no experiments. I think they're on summer holidays,
yeah.
I guess. No lab experiments today. Ah, that's it. We cannot present a phone like we did in the old days. Hold it into a camera, and then there is
Yes,
some white screen. You cannot read anything, and yeah, that's super.
like like getting the camera and the browser to work. That one took like 15 minutes just for that presentation.
Oh,
Yes,
yes,
that
yes,
was
yes.
yeah.
Super, super. So, I guess. By the way, any news from the next Ubuntu Touch version, 24 or
Well, things are
4 or so?
at a stage where some devices, some Wallas, and maybe the Fear from 4 are able to boot off of a noble image. Uh,
Mm,
it it is missing many other devices for sure right now, but the first test devices they seem to build, the system image server is able to host those files, and pretty sure it will not take too long until we have something that where you can show um, a certain stage of the operating system working pretty well with it. Just it might not do much at the moment, but that will very much change very soon.
mm,
Pretty sure about it.
great. Um, it's just because I remember when we talked first about upgrading to 2004 from 1604, it was
Mm,
such a hard thing to do.
mm,
And now I hope, and it seems to be a bit easier, a lot easier, maybe even to move from 2004 towards 2404. So
exactly.
basically jumping again two versions, but this time should not be as stressful as it was already.
Right.
I cross my fingers still that all the people stay focused and can deliver that thing. And I hope we do not leave too many devices behind. That would be
Right.
the goal this time so that we have a device parity and can upgrade everything to 2404. That would be really nice.
Mm.
All right. Yeah, since this is a summer edition and we are making it probably a bit shorter than usual, we are basically coming now to applications. If we find something here, yes, we found
Should we?
some
Should I share my
apps.
screen?
Yes, if you like,
I
do
will
it.
share my screen. Uh, there we go. You see this?
No, because you don't edit to the stage, but I do this for you.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Hey, there we are.
We have something, and that is let's start with this one. I think this is the first one in the list. Nymea app has been updated again, and
Oh, very good.
very good stuff. Like if you're interested in your own IoT hub that manages your smart home, so to say, this is a very interesting approach to a smart esque type of powerful home smart home setup, and it's got a few new things here, a few fixes, update Grill and Android Firebase SDK, blah blah. So more like more fixes regarding Android support, but pretty sure the Ubuntu Touch version has gotten a few things as well from
Yep.
this version app update. So else do we have here? U Piano. What do
U
you have
piano. Oh,
here?
a small piano app. Oh, I like it. Yes,
Oh,
my
yeah.
kids also can use that. It's really cute.
Look at that. That's
Yeah. And it's an interesting use of the screen in portrait, and you have to
yeah.
rotate it because it makes no sense to have a piano in portrait. So,
Mm,
but that really works. I can say.
mm. All right.
So yeah,
So next one is Annotate, and for Annotate, this one is getting real great upgrades very fast. So what you can do with Annotate is you can take your PDF file and annotate it to like until you're happy, so to say. You can
you
annotate PDFs. You
you
can
last minute pimping of a presentation. So you're going with the PDF, and you suddenly, oh my god, I forgot to do
I
something
forgot.
on that slide. Yeah, so
Yes.
you can still do it before the presentation. Annotate it with your fingers, and then you
Yeah.
probably will sell off everything.
It looks all mushed together, but it works.
Yeah,
And
no, it's great.
this
It's
looks really
great.
good. I like it, and as you can see, you can highlight things. You can draw like little arrows here and there.
Yeah.
Looks pretty good.
It's more. Also, what comes to my mind is it's more like you're the boss and you're getting some email with a PDF attachment. Please check that. Is it okay for tomorrow's presentation? And then while you're on the bus, you start just destroying the presentation. Ah, this is wrong. You have to put it like that. Yeah? You send it back immediately. You people think, oh, this guy is still working. I also have to do this immediately. So don't be the evil boss. Don't annotate your co-workers' presentations while you're on the bus.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Do it during work hours, please. But
So,
yeah, there are some people that would do it, I guess.
yeah. Yeah, we also have URL dispatcher tester getting updated. So thanks, Lionel.
What's that?
That is basically a little tool, as you can see, where you add a URL, like for example,
Uh-huh.
yes, or the tel or calendar application or
Ah.
whatever. You can enter a URL, you send the URL to the URL dispatcher, and it does
Oh,
the right.
wow.
For
But
example,
this,
it
yeah,
opens the
yeah.
timer, it opens the right settings submenu when you have the right,
Ah.
and you can test various things with this.
Because we will have to do a lot of URL, how to say, improvements for teleports
Mhm.
in the upcoming cycles for the app, and probably that will come in very handy because basically Telegram is moving more and more to URLs for everything. So whatever you share, it's a URL. So basically you can share it also outside of Telegram applications, of course. And if you receive a URL, it starts with the prefix TG or so, and then we need to handle that in teleports, of course, in the correct way. So that thing is actually cool because it saves us from using the chat and always creating some fake URLs. And yeah, I will basically take a look at this, I hope.
Pretty cool stuff.
Ah, good.
So, and the last one, this is actually a new app that has been released recently, and that is Steps. Accounts. This
Finally.
steps based on accelerometer data.
Super.
So you can actually do some step counting. How many steps have you walked?
Oh my God, I have to try this because I'm not that much into fitness super buff, but I'm really curious what I'm walking in my office when I'm walking around the floor.
I understand
That
this.
would be interesting. Height, weight, size, stride. Oh my God, it's very configurable.
Mhm.
Okay, definitely check out those things because
And
they really look very
it's
interesting.
3 steps.
Oh my God, it has lock screen integration.
Yes,
Very good. Very
it's
good.
cool. We
In
like seeing,
case you wonder.
we like seeing this. So
Very nice.
that has been
Thanks, Alfred, for the app. How to say?
roundup.
App roundup. That's a good thing. App roundup. We will call it like this in the future.
Yes.
Very nice. So there is a question from the chat that Christopher wants to know if we know about a web UI-based program called Gitea or
Yes.
Git. Do you know about it? No, I don't know about it.
It's
One
like
was really
a
built
Git app.
into
It's like your
PRs.
own Git instance and having a web UI for it.
Oh, very interesting. Is it
Yeah.
in the App Store?
No, it's something completely different.
Let's make a web app for this, shall we?
Yeah.
All right. So then, basically, in the kind of the middle of the show, we have a wonderful banner because we're always thanking our sponsors.
Oh yeah.
And so we say thanks to Smooth, Waller, Pine64, Private Internet Access, DigitalOcean, GitLab, Warnstein, OCA, Gardner Associates Consulting, Netlify, Cloudron, Code Lutta, probably Tixia, and Gandhi.net. And those guys are really helping the project now since many, many years already, and we're very grateful that they're still on board. These are long-time partners that we really love to have, and because they make the basic operations possible, paying all the infrastructure bills and so on and so on. So yeah, say thanks to those guys by maybe just visiting their site and see what they have to offer. And I'm not doing any advertisement here, of course. All right, and then of course there is more because now we have also to thank our patrons, and this list is again very long. We're very happy about this. So
Should I
I
go?
start the ticker. You can start reading wherever you want. It will repeat after the end.
Perfect. So thanks a lot to the patrons, starting with A. Thiel, Asmund Kaupang, Boris Flauhaus, Daniel Franchak, David Thiel, J.T. Brooks, Jose Angel Escura, Kenneth Drew, Linus Roon, Lothar Ketterer, Mike Adamitz, Marco A., Michael Kellner, Peter Mack, Philip Spiker, Rakesh BK, Robert Haley, Robin Hood, Rudy Arudi, Spendierhose, Stefan Kalb, Stephen Granger, Toralf Sun, and Sabine Schwarzer, and of course also with Will Atwood. Thanks a
I
lot to everyone who
thank you
has.
guys.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Also, I have some of the names here. They are here since years already, and we are very happy that your loyalty continues over the years of Ubuntu Touch journey, and that's also very helpful for us. And yeah, we would like, of course, if you become curious about how to help the project, one of the ways that you can help the project, not only by working, contributing, coding, testing, whatsoever, can also be donating. And here it is, the wonderful ubiworks.com/donate link. If in case you think the font is too small, I can make it a bit bigger also. No, but even a one-time donation helps the project, of course. So don't hesitate to think about, if you love what we're doing, then drop us some coins, some virtual coins. But please no Bitcoins at the moment, because
Yes.
very complicated to get through our system and taxation, and yeah, use regular money still. We are not yet there. Good. Thank you for your support, everybody. And even if you're just watching and clapping your hands virtually, we appreciate it very much.
Okay.
All right. Then there is a small part of questions. And if you still have questions, you can also put them in the live chat, of course. And I see there are 2 more comments here. Oh, thank you. I must applaud you, Florian, for being fluent in English pronunciation. Thank you very much. Yeah, English got my second language, but it's mostly because my work and some holidays I spent in US and UK. So you pick it up at some point. Here is a good question. When was the last time the Patreon list was updated? Okay, if you think we are out of date, we will take it seriously. I personally don't know. I just got it handed with my show notes. If it's really outdated, we will fix it for the next Q&A.
We always try to update the patrons list, but we often forget.
Yeah. And to frankly speaking, I don't even have access to Patreon, so I cannot do it myself. And so
Me neither.
I will push this to the back office of Q&A show.
I don't have access to that data neither. So, yeah.
Well, good. So if you have other questions, you can post in the live chat still. And we have a few questions from the forum.
Yeah,
Let's see what we got.
We should go to the forums questions, because Appley has also just dropped one question there in the pad, and that is, hello, everyone. Sorry for not being present tonight, but life happens. It's been some time now that I hear about the the new Qualcomm chips, namely the Snapdragon X Elite and Snapdragon X Plus. Those are ARM-based processors intended for laptops and productivity tablets in the same way as the Apple M chips. My question is, what would be the advantage and maybe drawbacks of such processors for Ubuntu Touch developers? My guts tell me that it might help a lot, preventing from cross-compiling, but will it really be that simple? What is developed locally can also be installed on another mobile device. Thanks, and have a great show. Well, as someone who owns not one, but 2 laptops with ARM's processors in there, one Apple MacBook Air with the M1, and also one of the Lenovo ThinkPads with the ARM chip, with one of those Snapdragon chips. And let me tell you, it's cool to have an ARM-based device compiling directly for your smartphone, operating system components for your smartphone. Halium development is a little harder because many things, because for example, the Halium compilers, they are Intel only, mostly, and hence they only build kernels on ARM, on Intel-based laptops or desktops, and not necessarily with our Halium tools against ARM. But things can change, and the development of non-Halium bits, of real actual operating system development, uh, of next to the kernel basically, is cool. It's really nice to be able to build quickly ARM packages that you just apt install onto your development machine, and you're able to test those things together, and it works pretty well. The development return time is phenomenal. Also was with the Apple MacBook already. So on the MacBook, I just took a Linux VM, compiled everything inside of that, and over since 2020, most of my contributions have been done through this laptop. So
There is also, I just snipped a bit of the informations from the Qualcomm page. I'm trying to show this now. Let's see. If you look at those specifications, it's basically insane because you have now 12 core CPUs with nearly 4 gigahertz and even peaking above that, and an endless way of, with this, I don't know, memory interfaces, DDR5 and so on. This is more like a desktop PC already. Yeah, it's really the workloads that you can run with that. If you would run it now for something like compiling, even on the phone becomes an option now. Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to know what the price tag will be for those devices and how they will be incorporated by the vendors. But the availability of these things is great. Yeah, no question. How it really affects us for Ubuntu Touch, I don't know at the moment. It will be still a long way ahead, I guess, if we can reach hardware that has those CPU and chipsets available for us. Means we have to probably step through another few Android versions by then. Yeah. But yeah, I guess the answer to the question is it's always refreshing to have new options that can be used. And it would be really great to incorporate such a powerful hardware for Ubuntu Touch, which is basically a stem from a desktop operating system. And we know that on the very small CPUs in the beginning, it was just sometimes struggling with the performance, no matter what you can do. Yeah, it was. It always benefits from more CPU, more RAM, and we saw this with the devices when we came up to FF on 4 and other in this class, how suddenly fluent everything was going.
Yeah.
No, but it's a very valid mention that we will have an eye on that and see where this hardware will appear. The presentation is from April this year, so probably it will take another, I don't know, 1 or 2 years until there are serious options for us. But yeah, it reads very promising.
All right. Should we go to the next question?
Sure.
Okay. Arubalander has 2 questions, actually, I see here. The first one is, Ubuntu Touch aims to be an OS for the regular user with reliable functionality. It achieves that in large part thanks to the read-only root file system and atomic updates. But what different options do those who like to experiment have on Ubuntu Touch? Or is it simply not an OS for tinkerers? Well, I personally think that many tinkerers, this is a personal opinion, I might stir up some flames with this one, but many tinkerers are not thinking of releasing anything to anybody else outside of their own little sphere. And for that, Ubuntu Touch is a phenomenal option if you want to release a Click app for someone on the open store so that they can benefit off of that. It's not so good for people who want to modify a system component and not share it. There are different focus points of focus for us, and we definitely people can tinker with Ubuntu Touch, but it's not the default. It's not why it exists. It's not why I use it. It's not why Florian probably uses it, just because you can tinker with it. So it is probably just second best option in that regard, if anything. But yeah, there are certain reasons to use Ubuntu Touch and tinkering is, and other for the case where you want to play with snaps, where you want to use Docker, install it as a snap. Sure, you can tinker with those things, but other than that, there's not much of a use for it.
I mean, there is the notorious writable image thingy that you can set,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you can work around entirely our protection of not allowing any changes. You can also use apt, of course, then to install packages and the latest updates, which sometimes, unfortunately, might break the image in a way that it won't boot anymore.
Which
And
is why we're
sometimes
not
you need.
suggesting.
We had some cases even when these things slipped into RC or stable releases, but at the end of the day, it's just you need then to connect to the thing with recovery and somehow mount your image and repair it manually. I mean, the option for people that really want to play with it, they are there because you can remove all the protections and you don't need to use system image upgrades only. If you're in a devil image, then it's perfectly fine that you update your stuff with apt. But you are out of the warranty or out of the how to say walled garden that is created, if you want to call it like that, to protect you from.
We have made roads. We
yeah.
have created roads for a reason, and if people are not
Yeah.
willing to walk those roads, we can't help them.
You can always go to the woods. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But it's something, and maybe the question here from the live chat fits into that picture a bit. Christopher is asking about the multi-boot loader solution. So that would be something that at the moment would only be advisable if something would be there that works in some way, and I guess it's still not. It would be something we only recommend to people that are not sad or rage if the device breaks for some reason, because you have one operating system on the device that is a little bit out of the usual, and then if you have multi-boot, you might have multiple of those. He basically said he wants to use Lineage, Sailfish, or UT. I can fully understand it, but the problem is really those three operating systems will start to fight with each other, no matter what. So they on a PC, on a desktop device, it's somehow okayish to have a multi-boot still, and it worked very well over the last 20 years or so with Linux and Windows, for example, and there are some people using that still. But only because those operating systems have kind of, let's say, a peace agreement between each other to not mess with certain things. And on a mobile phone, it's completely not so easy. I remember that the first thing that I noticed was when I installed Lineage on what device was it actually? Oh no, it was a factory image. This guy just started to encrypt the whole data partition, and then we have the problem. Okay, who is actually now owning the encryption of the data? Is it the Android part or is it Ubuntu Touch? It can only be one of them. For security reasons, it's really hard to say. Okay, both of them can use the encrypted partition in this or that way. So I don't know. There are a lot of technical challenges, and I guess nobody really wants to work through all of that to make it user-friendly, stable, with a nice UI that you can just switch between the operating systems. If you look, for example, on the PinePhone, and just one more sentence, if you look on the PinePhone, which is a non-Android device, multi-boot was there since the beginning. Because it's more like a PC. It's more like you just pop in your SD card with 6 operating systems and you can just multi-boot them. On the Android-based hardware, it's really, really a tricky nut.
To me, it sounds like people wanting to turn something into a wardrobe that is just not a wardrobe. It's like, oh, but I want a different OS now. Well, it's like, to me, it's like wearing a different T-shirt, and to me, that's not it, right? That's not the same. Most people out there, they want something that works, and they don't want to mess with it.
It's also very hard to mess with the partitions because the operating systems, especially Android, has a very distinctive way how it wants the partitions to be, how they are named, how big they are. And if you want to share that with UT in some way, there's simply not enough room to install everything in the right partition. So on the Android hardware to have multi-boot for these things, I don't know. So the answer to the question, if there has been any progress, I guess no. And I never heard about in the last years that somebody is working on this. The only thing that I can say here, because as you're mentioning, you have electronic ID app. The problem is with electronic ID apps, like we have, for example, here in Austria, we have also ID Austria, and it checks the device for its protections, like a locked bootloader and other things. It won't work in Waitroid. In my opinion, that's something that will never work like this. Certain apps, they are just not working like this. And unfortunately, the only thing that I can do here for my ID app and for my banking app, if they are really checking everything, is have a second device. That's my manual multiboot. It's also a device that doesn't have a SIM card because it works only with Wi-Fi. But we are in no way there that we can say, okay, we will ever have a Waitroid that works 100% secure like an original installed Android device. So I cannot say that even if you get your multiboot to run, I guess the app will just detect that it's not in a sane environment. And then it will refuse to work. So that's what I'm saying. We don't want to make any false hopes, but I don't think multiboot, even if it would work, solves really the things that the last mile that many of us are missing here. Yeah.
Oh well. Okay, there's another question from Arubalander, the second one, and that is congratulations on the release of OTA 5. One feature that a few users have noticed missing on their Pixel 3a and Pixel 3a XL is double tap to wake. Not a feature that I use myself, but important to others. So removal must have been decided on for competing reasons. Can you shed some light on why the feature was removed from these devices? Yes, I can. That has to do with seemingly some slight differences in the display panel on the Pixel 3As. Depending on when you bought it, when it was manufactured, it might have a different panel in there, which works with the same driver, but the driver inside of, and that is basically what double tap to wake needs to do on all of those panels, is reset the panel once the display goes on. Then it works. The problem is some panels have the issue of when that happens, it locks up. And doing so only within the kernel space seems to trigger it too early, and we don't have anything in the user space compared to previous port versions where user space can notice, oh, screen has been turned on. I cause the touch panel to reset by itself. And what happened basically with the double tap to wake feature being there in the first place, always doing this resetting of itself, meant that regular users who just flashed Ubuntu Touch onto their devices had trouble navigating the thing because the touch panel didn't work. So the choice was easy. Do we want an optional feature that might be nice to have, or do we want an actual functioning device? And I want the actual functioning device, and for that I have to turn off those nice to have but not really working features until we have better solutions. It is what it is. It is a port feature, and that port feature requires a little bit more work on the rootfs side, on the actual system. It's not just easy to do I must do a feature in Halium, and now we have a Halium feature, and all of a sudden the rootfs cannot make use of it. So it needs to be thought out. It needs to be implemented properly. And yeah, so Pixel 3a double tap to wake has been removed for a good reason for now. If things change and if others figure out a way to do the reset without blocking all the different various problematic panels, then please go ahead.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah. Well, it's a bit unfortunate, of course, but we saw this over the years with some ports that strange hardware choices by the vendors, slight modifications, breaking stuff that we thought should be stable forever and for once and all. Yeah, in this case, I completely understand what's going on. You cannot compromise the whole experience just for that thing that a few people really find convenient and others have maybe just turned on because, yeah, okay, it's there. But at the end, it's not mission critical, I can say. All right. Oh, more questions coming. The main reason battery life is still way worse compared to Android. It's a lot of things. Is it the modem? I suspect still it is the modem. And I had some ideas. I think it's already 2 years ago. Because, as you know, the modem is a separate operating system, basically on a chip. Yeah. It needs to know for optimizing the battery life what it's allowed to do in terms of processing power, CPU, or whatsoever. If I'm not wrong, then as soon as you turn on the screen on an Android device, it basically tells the modem, look, the guy starts working, the guy starts doing something now. Yeah. So there are certain power save modes in the modem that can be negotiated with the base station. In LTE already, I think it will be also in 5G.
Mm.
So you only go to the maximum power consumption when there is active data transfer, but also for data transfer that is happening in the background. You can actually reduce it a bit. The data flow will be slower maybe, but the energy efficiency will be better. So we would have to tell the modem, and that's a special command still, in the interface between the main operating system and the modem. We have to tell them, look, now the screen is on, the screen is off, the device is locked, the device is sleeping. There are some options for that.
Mm.
And they would need to go into Ophono. That was a discussion with the upstream of Ophono also. They were not sure if this is really working. I remember then at some point it got too complicated with our fork of Ophono. But there is some potential here. That would be something that we can try out. On the other hand, I must say I'm very happy with the battery life on the Fairphone 4 now, which doesn't do this as well, but it's very efficient. And so it's also very device dependent
Mm.
on how well the hardware works initially out of the box with power saving, or does the customized Android version for that device needs to tweak a lot to get the device into shape. We had devices that were spending a ton of power, and they wouldn't so in Android because something was telling the hardware just more than we did. Yeah. And maybe the hardware started with full power consumption and was just not set to the right level at some point. Yeah. I would say there is still a lot of work that can be done. And it's not on the main priority list still because we're just hunting a lot of other priorities. But at some point, I guess we have to revisit that thing again, especially the thing with the modem, because it's a known fact that in the older Phono there was something that was setting this. Yeah. But the newer versions since Android 9, they just ignore that command and they need a different one to have more options on what's happening. There are more power states now. Yeah, they can be used for that. Yeah, we put it on our endless wall of nice to have features, and maybe somebody can grab it up at some point.
Mm.
All right.
All right.
More questions. What's going on, guys? Okay. On the evening, people are no more active than during the daytime because of the heat.
I'm seeing one that I really would like to pick, and that is, has Mate been added to the Open Store yet? No, and for Ubuntu Touch, it's pretty clear that there will not be any other desktop environment running on the phone other than Lumiri. That's pretty much a given, considering that Ubuntu Touch and Lumiri are like they're one thing. They fit together, right? And we're not gonna have all those wardrobe types of situations where you want to change T-shirts with desktop environments. We're not doing that, so you might find this somewhere else. Though.
It's also something that integrates into other things. Like there are background services that are necessary, for example, to display push notifications, to display notifications at all, to interact
Media,
with the hardware and stuff like that.
location services, all of those things.
And all of them, they would kind of need an interface to this DE, and we are not going to maintain all of that. So if somebody wants to add a new display environment, desktop environment, they can do, but it's a really hard work to do. And we are really busy with maintaining the one that we have. Yeah. There is no way that this was easy. It's really hard to add a new DE. I would say so. Yes. And on top of that, most of DEs are not optimized for mobile. Yeah, this is also something that you have to take into account. There is no way that makes sense to display a desktop PC screenish layout on a mobile phone. Yeah, that doesn't work, and that's why Lumiri was made, and that's why Canonical back then called it Unity 8, and they wanted to have it convergent, and then spent a lot of effort into making a DE that works on a desktop PC and a mobile phone.
And we want
And
to take that further. We want to
yeah,
take that further for sure.
yeah, and that's the thing. Then that everything is kind of responsive, DPI aware, all of those things they really work nicely. Yeah? And putting anything else there would basically create more problems for us and less fidelity for the users, I guess. So yeah. All right.
All right. Okay, coming up with 46 minutes of
Yeah.
on time.
One last one, and I don't really know the answer here. What's the status of contact sync card dev sync? Oh, this is a long story of the last probably 5 years already.
Well, we have had Lionel talk about this a few weeks back.
Ah,
Uh,
cool.
Not much to share here, other than of course people are working on it. But I'm pretty sure if we have more things to share, then we will probably mention them here as well.
Yeah, stay tuned on the Q&As. If,
Yeah.
if that lands, you will be the first one to hear it here, probably. Yeah.
Yes.
Lock screen integration is also a very interesting question. Whether media control camera shortcut, maybe that's not so hard than a complete new DE. It's something, yes, we could think about. I guess the priority still is not very high.
Yes.
Media control partially is there in the indicator. It might not be so obvious, but if you're playing back music from any music player, then you have basically your controls there in the indicator when you pull it down. It's not on
Yeah.
a lock screen per se, but it's something that you can reach without unlocking the phone.
I find it weird.
And
I find it weird that we have those media controls, etc., in the indicator bar already, which you can access from the lock screen, swiping down, but people want them in the lock screen itself.
yeah,
Then it look good on a phone, but not on a tablet or desktop. It's tough. It's hard.
yeah, but you could also kind of converge it. You could take it out from the indicator, or the indicator could have some hook into the lock screen. But it becomes a bit complicated here as well.
Yeah.
It's mainly a UX issue, and the question is if we want to ever solve it. But at least this music app shows that it's possible to have, first of all, an app in the background that can play back music, and the second thing is that can have a control embedded into the indicator. Maybe it's a bit hackish, I must say, but yeah, something like this. And if you say so, there could also be those controls could be on the lock screen for easier reachability. I mean, I know the use case. You take out your phone because you meet your parents or your neighbor. You quickly want to stop the music screaming into your ears. You don't want to go to the indicator and pull it down in this case. Yeah. Just stop the darn stop. Or police is stopping you on the bike and you're illegally listening to music on your headphones. Stop music. Maybe we could make something like a shake gesture. So you take out your phone and you shake it like this, and music stops.
Please don't.
Okay,
There's an
too many false positives.
Yes. I found an interesting question here. Whether OTA 5 Focal has been released on the Fairphone 4 already. It has been released, but only in stages, in phases. It's getting released in phases, and by now, pretty much everyone should be on the ability to download it and install it already. If not, just try a refresh from within system settings.
It's interesting because I just powered up now my Fairphone, my actual development device, and it says software is up to date. Very interesting. We will check on this.
Yes.
Oh no, here it is. Downloading. Yes, But oh my god, I'm on development. I have to switch channels. I cannot tell you if the OTA is there. Great. No, please be a bit patient. If not, check updates in the system settings once in a while. Good. What part of the ecosystem for you two needs to be worked on? Just Volte? Oh, there is a lot more, I guess.
Well,
You could also work on eSIM, for example. eSIMs are very popular now in devices, and they will be a thing of the future, I guess. So there will be devices at some point that don't have a physical SIM slot because they can be made a bit cheaper by that. So we need to proceed on Volte, on eSIM, and also kind of on the 5G support to be out of the box for all the devices. I guess 5G is the easiest one of those three.
well,
eSIM is not so hard. You just need to implement a few things around the Android service that could run in the container, but you need a nice UI.
actually, Luca has worked on something for mainline devices, and those that library that it uses also has binder plugins, which make it possible to configure eSIMs over binder on Qualcomm devices. So shouldn't be too far away.
Yeah. And here's the best question or the best remark of this day. And we are approaching the end of the Q&A with this message.
That gives me a reason to close it down now.
Yes. No, it's actually we try to make it better, but it's not actually dirt on the legs.
AI
So
I can enable this, and it has those little artifacts around.
yeah, it's
Or, I don't know. It's not really.
that's filters.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, let's filter it out into a nice evening on this weekend. I hope you enjoy a bit of the remaining summer weeks before everything starts to be serious again. And if somebody still goes on the vacation, happy holidays. We will be back, I guess, in the next 2 weeks again, after the next 2 weeks. And have a good evening. Thanks for joining us. And I hope we see you next time.
Yes.
And that's it. Bye.
Bye. Who's clicking the end stream button?
I'm clicking. Let me try. Click.